Okay, so we have finished our graffiti, taken a photo of it. Um, this photo I just snapped very quickly on my cell phone, and I didn't really take the time to make sure that it was a good image, but it'll serve for today's purposes. So first thing we're going to do is crop the image to get rid of the unnecessary background stuff. So right now I'm editing the photo for use on Artsonia. And then that photo will also be used in our final piece. So first thing I'm going to do is get the crop tool, which if you guys look at your toolbar on the left hand side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tools down, crop. And if you ever just kind of pause and hover over a tool, it'll give you that little hint there and tell you what it is. Okay, so crop. At the top are my different options for measurements. I'm going to change this to width by height by resolution, and then just delete these numbers. I'll leave 300 as the resolution because I don't want to be constrained to proportions here. I want to just kind of crop it where I want it. So if there's like a lot of extra space, that you don't really need to show online, on Artsonia, that's fine. So you can adjust that. And you want to make sure that it's nice and straight. If your picture is really crooked, one thing you can do is click on the straighten tool. It looks like a little bubble level, and actually just click on one edge of your paper and then drag your mouse across the top of the paper. And you see that line there? It's clearly on an angle, right? It's not perfectly horizontal. And then once I release the mouse, it's going to rotate the picture a little bit so that now it's straight in relation to the edge of my illustration board. However, now if I look at my letters here, they're kind of wonky, where actually it probably looked better the other way. So I'm going to click back on the straighten tool and actually just draw a straight line along the tops of my letters and let that be the guideline for where my image is square. So I want to make sure I have sort of the same amount of space on both sides, no unnecessary background showing, and once I'm happy with my crop here, I will hit enter. Okay. Another thing is, let's say I wanted to use this image. I can also click and hold on the crop tool and click on perspective crop tool. So this is a really helpful tool if you took a photo, let's say on your cell phone, and it's really kind of crooked and wonky. And what you can do is just click on the corner of your illustration board. Like, so in theory, sorry about that. In theory, the illustration board is square, right? So we're going to click, and I'm just clicking. I'm not holding the mouse down, and then click again here. Okay, on the other corner. And I'm just working my way around the illustration board to those corners. And then once I hit the little check mark or hit enter on my computer, it will automatically crop this to that square and adjust for any weird perspective stuff. So that is another option too if you really have a funky photograph but that you still want to use. So here I will also go to image rotation, and I'm just going to rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise so it's straight. Okay, so this was the demo piece I had done. It's obviously not finished, but I could still use it for demonstration purposes tonight. But I'm going to go back to this image. Okay, so if you hit Command plus on your keyboard, you can zoom in and see what's going on with this image. So if there's anything that you need to clean up, let's say your background was white and you've got a little smudge of colored pencil on there that you want to go away. A couple different options for that as far as healing tools. So I'm going to share with you a link to more in-depth videos on these items here, but if you go down to the 7th tool, click and hold, you get some different options here. So I think I've shown some of you guys spot healing. So let's say like this was a blemish. one of these little spots, which it's not, it's her splatter paint that she did on purpose, but let's say it's a blemish. If I just adjust my brush size to about the size of the blemish, I can use the open bracket and close bracket keys, which are right next to your P on your keyboard. I can make my brush bigger or smaller. You can also go up to the top here and change the size of my brush. Okay, so if I just click on that little blemish, it will go away. Okay, it reads the pixels around and then they can go away. So let's see if there's something I could really fix in here. So like, let's say, you know, maybe this little black line, you know, she didn't, oh, here, this little guy. I'll just make that smaller using the bracket key and it's gone. Okay, so you can clean things up that way. You want to make sure that your color is accurate as far as what it looks like in real life. So what's white should be white, not yellowy, not bluish. You know, and the colors should be true to what they look like. And of course, this is hard because every computer monitor is different. But a couple ways you can do that is you can go to your adjustments panel here. You can change the brightness and contrast levels, hue and saturation. I'm going to just cheat on this really quickly and go to, you can do auto color under image or auto contrast and play around and see what looks the best for your image. If you ever don't like what you just did, edit undo or edit step backwards will take you back to where you were. Just to show you what this looks like, if I go to brightness and contrast, I can increase the brightness. You know, obviously that's too bright. For the most part, your pictures should be coming out just fine as far as exposure goes. Yeah, but you could increase the contrast if you wanted to a little bit. Move that like that. So now this is an adjustment layer, and it's affecting the image, but not permanently. It's not permanently affecting the pixels. And then you can see before and after. And then you can also double click on it and say, oh, you know what, I don't like that. I'm going to drag this back down a little bit. As far as color, you could totally change the colors if you wanted to. And you could make this decision later on for your graffiti piece, but just to show you that, so I'm going to delete that. Color balance, if the white feels a little too blue, you could always increase the red a little bit. You know, we don't have to spend too much time on that. Okay, so let's say we're done. We're happy with this image. We've adjusted it. It looks nice and clean. It's cropped perfectly. I'm going to go to File, Save As. Okay, and I'm at home on my home computer, so I don't have access, but under, there should be something over here that says Shared, and you should be able to get to your Student Network folder. And I believe we made the links for those, the shortcuts for those in the beginning of the year. If not, we can redo that for you. But you want to save in your Student Network folder, not on the desktop, because it could just disappear if you do that. So I'm just going to save it in my documents under this school year, and I'm going to call it last name graffiti. Okay, so last name, project name, and under format, it should be Photoshop format, and then you should see the file extension should be PSD. If you don't do this, you won't be able to make any edits in the future. It'll flatten the image, so like these layers would go away. Okay, and this is important for a couple reasons, which I'll get into later. So I'm going to hit save. Okay. Now, you cannot upload a PSD file to Artsonia. So we're going to go to Layer, scroll down, Flatten Image. It merges all of the layers here. So now you just have one image. You can go to File, Save As now. Make sure it's Save As, not Save. Save As. Photoshop, and scroll. You're going to click under Format and click on JPEG. So JPEG is one of those universal file formats. You can upload it to Artsonia. So again, it's last name, project name, and a JPEG. You can't just change the file extension over here without going down to format and clicking JPEG, okay? And then save and hit OK, okay? And now when you go to Artsonia, oops, of course from your perspective it's a little bit different, but you can go to direct upload if you're on the computer, select files, and I need to remember where I saved it. So here you should have shared, and you should have your link or your shortcut to your Student Network folder, right? So Melchione Graffiti, I saved it in my 2018-19 school year folder. So again, you guys remember where you save it, and then you can get it. Click open, and I see a little preview. Click upload. It's going to do its thing, and now I can publish it. And I would select my name and my grade and all of that, and the title, I could just call it Optimism, and then the artist statement, you have your questions, and you would type that in there and go ahead and publish that. Okay, so I'm not going to publish because this isn't my artwork, but that is editing your graffiti image to upload to Artsonia, and then to get ready for editing it for your composite image. Okay, thanks for watching.